Water. I know. Yeah. I was scared watching her. We elected each other. That's where I knew you from. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. Probably I plan on moving again. I live there temporarily. I plan to move back.
All right, now.
There's a big debate about how many times we should fold it.
I'm on fold. One time.
Okay, so this is the she was someone asking me if somebody, is that the same chair? Is that her name? Oh, wait. Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay, I need the microphone.
Good evening, all you wonderful, wonderful Democrats. It's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to be doing the door prize drawing in just a few minutes. So, if you have not yet filled out your door prize paper, fold it in half and stick it in this bowl. I'm going to see if I could get someone to walk around the tables real quick just to collect them. Make sure you get your door prize ticket turned in, because I have several door prizes and they're actually pretty darn cool.
And you're Karen. Bless your heart.
One thing I need everyone to look at me for a minute. There are a pair of glasses here. They're Ray-Ban sunglasses. They are not. Are they? No.
Let me see. I know that they are. They are.
Thank you. We just didn't want you to
Thank you. Thank you. I would have been very upset when I was told thank you.
tell me about it.
Thank you. All right. Well, our door prizes tonight. We have some lovely chocolates. For those who don't care for chocolate, we have some lovely apples. I have 2 hats. If you choose a hat. And I have some postcards and colored pencils. These are my homemade postcards that you can color and then send to Congress. So with everyone having turned yours in, I'm sure. Okay, our first person that's going to come up and pick their door prize is Maureen McClellan. Oh my gosh, you're right there. No, you have to give me it. I keep it. I keep it. You can choose the hat. Oh, you need the door prize. Our next door prize is Henry Standard. Henry, where are you? Do you want a door prize? You want a door prize. And you have to enter to win, so if you didn't enter, you're not going to win. Apples, chocolate, hat, postcards. Yeah. I made those, you know. I seriously did. I made them. Ah, Leon. Leon Stephan Yormark. Leon Stephan Yormark. Is that? What does he want to pick? Does he want chocolate, apples? And one more. Gail Marcus. Okay. So thank you very much for coming tonight. All right, I have a little piece of paper where I wrote down on my phone. Okay, we're going to ask you to kind of stop talking now. You can keep eating, but we're going to get started on the meeting. We have quite a bit of business to do tonight, so we're going to kind of move forward quickly. First, I want to welcome all of you. Yes. And I want to know, do we have any new people tonight? Well, I hope you have turned in your email address and that I can get in touch with you then. That'll be wonderful. Now, we just had an election for our new precinct organizers, new POs, and I was wondering if, do we have any new POs in the house tonight? Yes! Yay, yay, yay. Woo, how about all the POs? How many people in the house are POs? Yay, 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 yay for us, yes. The POs, if you have a chance to be a PO, you should do it. You will love it. Okay.
And if you don't love it, we don't want to hear about it.
That's not it. Where's my other piece? My first announcement is you can sign up to retake the House of Representatives from the Republicans. There is a paper on your table with a QR code, and on the front of it, it tells you all about the Trust Brigade. We are currently doing this deep canvassing in Congressional District 8. And we're doing it every couple of weeks. I love it. I have a great time doing it. And so far, we've been being pretty successful. So, if you want to do something to take back our house, please sign up. Okay.
Got it?
Matt Logan, our soon-to-be first vice chair.
Yes. All right. Thank you, HD6. It is so great to see such a packed room in here yet again. I always say that we do it the best. See a lot of new faces in here, which is great. My name is Matthew Logan. I am the second vice chair of the Democratic Party of Denver. And it is always great to be here in the community. But my first announcement has nothing to do with my role as the second vice chair of the Denver Dems. While I know most of you through my volunteer work with the Democratic Party, my day job is as serving as the senior policy manager at New Era, Colorado. And we are a leading partner in the coalition that is called Protect Colorado's Future. Who here has heard about the graduate income tax ballot measure? Okay, good. That's great. That's good to see. So Protect Colorado's Future is a coalition made up of a lot of amazing stakeholders, advocacy groups that is trying to advance the graduate income tax ballot measure effort. And right now we are collecting signatures. So you guys will see on your tables 2 sheets like this. You'll see Take Action with Protect Colorado's Future, as well as a piece of literature that has too much information on it, but we want to make sure that you're informed. But please visit the QR code, visit our website, learn more about this effort. I'll leave our senator and our representative to talk more about the massive budget crisis and financial state that we find ourselves in. But this graduate income tax ballot measure is one of the many ways that we're trying to address this. What this measure does is it'll cut taxes for 97% of Coloradans. It will raise taxes for those top income tax bracket earners from $500,000 or above. And we're going to use the funds raised from those taxes to give back to education, to fund social programs, healthcare, infrastructure, many of the things that we're seeing being cut by our legislature due to the budget crisis, due to the impacts of Tabor. So this ballot measure is incredible. Come find Randy Ross there in the back. He's got a petition packet. There are also more at the front table. No? Okay, yeah. Go find Randy in the back. He's got a petition packet. Please sign. We need to get this thing on the ballot, and we need to make sure that we're trying to fix the broken tax system in our state and put money back to the things that we need it to. So that is it for my non-Denver Dems announcement. My one county party announcement is that I know Karen just had people show of hands of new POs in the room. Who's a new PO real quick? Show of hands. Wow, okay, that's amazing. And who here is a current precinct organizer or former? Okay. Who here is interested in becoming a precinct organizer? Because we do have vacancies. Okay, perfect. So we've got a really fun, exciting event coming up on April 19th. That is Sunday, April 19th. This will be at noon at our headquarters office at 3000 Lawrence Street. You can find this event on our website on the events page, but this is a precinct organizer orientation. So this is to get a lot of our new POs, but also folks who are have been current POs and want to get a refresher. We're going to be doing a big orientation, a training. We're going to make sure we give you all the tools, the basics, all the resources you need to carry out your roles to make sure that you're making the strongest impact in your communities. Because as we approach our primaries and our general election and our GOTV efforts, you're the ones on the front lines who are going to be doing a lot of the really, really important work. And then after that event, we're going to be heading over to Improper City, a brewery, which for a very fun little after party. So please come hang out, come meet your new POs, meet your leadership, meet your neighbors, meet other folks who might be interested in this role. We got a lot of work ahead of us. I know there's a lot of challenges that we're facing, but I do feel very optimistic, mainly because of the amazing people I see in this room. So April 19th, precinct organizer orientation. We'd love to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. I am Art Cameron. I'm the chair of HD6. Hi, Katie. I'm also the finance chair, which is really the more important job. So I have a bunch of announcements for you, but first, I want to thank everybody who brought food tonight. Some of these names are not on my list because I didn't know they were bringing food. Hi, Lori. So we'll start with Lori Anderson, who surprised me at 5:45. Katie March, thank you very much. Cindy Lou Peniston, where are you? Oh. Matthew Logan. That's it. Well, I don't think Summer Nettles and James Carnwell are here because they have book club at their house tonight, but she dropped off food before the meeting started. So thank you to them. Thank you to Kathy Wilson. Thank you to Miles Blakely, who is hiding in the back of the room. Thank you to Randy Ross, who always supplies me with brownies. They are good. All right. I think I missed one or two people. I have you on my list. I don't know why I didn't read your name. Joanne DeVries, thank you very much. Anybody else I missed? Last call. All right. Thank you very much. So our custom is we supply everybody with food every month. But if we had to supply it ourselves, we wouldn't be saving any money. So I ask every month for people to do two things. One, sign up to bring food for the following month, which would be May. And the other thing I do ask, which helps us defer all costs, is to donate to HD6. So if you want to donate, there are QR codes, I believe, on all the tables. I see Karen nodding her head.
Yes, they are. They're all on the table.
There are also BREs on the table. Is that right, Karen? So if you want to do cash and you put it in a BRE, it's an envelope, put your name. If you've donated before this, I don't need anything else but your name. If you have not donated before, then I need all the info because I have to put you into the system. It would be nice tonight if we could raise $300 to $350 total. That is not a lot of money because 2 months ago we went over $500 and we had less people than the people that are here. So I'm asking you all to please donate. If you can do $5 or $10, that's great. If you can do $50, that's great. If you want to do a credit card, fill out the BRE, and I will run that tomorrow morning so that we get credit for that. As far as May's meeting, right now, is Kelly Rocky here?
She's sick.
Oh, I'll call her. She's on the May meeting list to bring food. Is Tamara here?
No.
Okay, I'll call her. Is Billy Tedesco here? Okay, good thing they're not doing food tonight. And I know Les Reitman is here somewhere. Where is Les? Oh, there he is. You're signed up for May. You'll get a call, I'll remind you. So it would be nice to have 3 or 4 more people to sign up. If you are willing to do that, come see me tonight. I'll add you to the list. I'm not going to put this around the room, but we would appreciate that. The other thing I want to talk about is happening a week from this Saturday. It's our annual HD6 Spring Fundraiser. It's at the same location as last year, the Hangar Club, right behind Wings Over the Rockies in Lowry. Tickets are on sale. We've sold somewhere around 15 tickets, but most of them are sponsor tickets, which is nice because those are $150. Regular tickets are $25. So it'd be really nice if a lot of you bought tickets, showed up, had a good time. We had 58 people last year, and we did very well. There's also going to be a silent auction that will take place at the Hangar Club. Some of the things that have been donated are 3 tickets to the new women's soccer team, the Denver Summit. Sean and Matt is back there. They are both doing lunch for 2 guests separately, not together. So we appreciate that from Sean and Matt. And they're on Thursday, May 14th. So I hope those get bid pretty high. We will have probably a total of about 14 silent auction items. We just haven't been given all the list yet. So any questions on any of this? No questions. Wow. Okay, in that case, I don't even know who's next. Oh, Kathy's next. Oh. Oh, that's right. Never mind, Kathy. I'm old and senile. There should be one of these for everybody on the table. If you want to get your ticket tonight, just scan the QR code, and you'll be done in 2 seconds, and we will be very grateful. Any questions? All right. So our first speaker tonight, I'm quite honored to introduce our Congresswoman and a very dear friend, Diana DeGette. Come on up.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, I have to thank Cindy Lou, who's standing up, because Cindy Lou and I were part of the team that restarted Denver Young Democrats just a few years ago. So I'm really happy to be here with you today. Thank you, Sean, for letting me come. The last time I spoke to you guys was at Sean's house in the fall. And I guess I'm happy that we're on recess so I can be back when you have your meeting, because normally I'd be in Congress, but I really think they should take us back to deal with Donald Trump. And what I'm going to do, I like to come and give you a report from the front. It's not pretty. Here's, just in case you forgot, on Sunday, Donald Trump's Easter message was, and I'm quoting, so I apologize for the language, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all rolled up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the fucking, straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. That was his message on Sunday. Then his message, you all know this message, his message the next day was, quote, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionary, wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will find out tonight, one of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, what I have to say is, this is the President of the United States. I don't know when ever in our country the 25th Amendment would ever be more appropriate than it is right now. Right now. And cast your mind back to 7th or 8th grade in civics. The 25th Amendment, because here's the thing, people keep asking me, what are we going to do to exert the 25th Amendment? The 25th Amendment says that the cabinet has to vote to remove the president for incompetence. The cabinet was, people like Mark Wayne Mullen and Sylvester Reamer and the others, they were chosen by Donald Trump, and they were approved by the sycophants over in the Senate. So I mean, today I did call on them to exert the 25th Amendment. I have little to no hope, my friends. I have little to no hope. But the next thing then I said is, if they won't do it, Congress has to do it. And I'm sorry, we have elections coming up in November. And I know this all too well because I presided over, you all know this too, I presided over the first impeachment trial. I was an impeachment manager for the second trial, and we actually got some Republicans in that trial, but we didn't get 2/3. I think any Republican, looking at you, Susan Collins, looking at you, all the Republicans, Lisa Murkowski, if they don't see how dangerous this man is, not just to our country, but to our world order, then it is worse than we thought. So my leadership today said we should all come back to D.C. and we should undertake this immediately, and I agree. So that's what's going on in Washington. Of course, this war to begin with is illegal. It was an illegal war. He's required to come to Congress for approval, and he didn't do it. In case you haven't noticed, and I don't expect you to look at all his tweets, but he's never given a reason. In supplemental funding for this war. And I have 2 words for that: hell and no. We're not going to do that. So the next thing is billion. I said million, yeah, $1 billion. Sorry, $1 billion on top. But then he submitted his budget. I don't know if you saw about the budget, and he's cutting even more housing programs, healthcare programs, all these programs in order to have even more money for the war. And I think all of Congress will agree, hell no. Maybe not some of the Republicans. Thank you for, by the way, go up to District 8, please, and do the canvassing. We need to elect somebody other than Dave Evers up there. So that's what's going on in Washington. Nothing good. But I do want to tell you one thing that I'm doing in Washington, and that is, in 2 weeks, we're going to have, some of you know, I hope all of you know now, I am the ranking Democrat on the Health Subcommittee. We have jurisdiction over all of healthcare policy. And even though I'm in the minority, I'm pressing every day against the Trump administration. Their cuts to Medicaid, their cuts to children's health, their cuts to everything. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to have the honor of having RFK Jr. back in front of my committee. So I would like, and I have about 15 Democrats on my subcommittee. I have about 15 Democrats. We all coordinate on our questioning, including, by the way, AOC and some other really fantastic Democrats. So I'm going to ask all of you to submit your questions that you would like me and my committee members to ask to RFK Jr. I already have some good ideas, so stay tuned. But this is what's going on. We are fighting hard, and sometimes we're winning because the Republicans only have a 3 or 4 vote majority on any given day. In November, we're going to win the House, and you heard me say it here tonight, we're going to win the House by 20 or 30 votes. And I'll have my gavel. I'll have subpoena power. I will be able to bring RFK Jr. and all of his minions and all of his documents into the committee, and we're going to have oversight, but also what we're going to do is we're going to fight hard for Medicare for all, for affordable prescription drugs, and for all of this. So what you do as active Democrats cannot be more important. It is so important what you're doing. And I want to thank each and every one of you for fighting today, next week, next month, and into November, because this is the only way we're going to bring justice back to this country. With that, that's my report from the front. I'll take a couple questions. Yeah, Katie.
Okay, hang on. Wait until I bring you the phone.
Appropriations bill that we just passed for 2026, we were able to strip out all, we call them the anti-choice riders, all of the additional abortion restrictions that the Republicans tried to put in, we stripped them all out. Also, when they, you might recall, when we were trying to do the tax credit extensions, remember that? The ones that gave people affordable health care. We were trying to do the tax credit extensions. The Republicans offered us that they would do the extension if we did a huge restriction on abortion rights that would have stopped people in private insurance plans from buying abortion coverage with their own money. This was under the radar screen. They tried to do it in the middle of the night, and I saw it because I saw it before when we did the ACA, and I stopped it, and we said no, and so they went away. So but ultimately what we have to do, we have to pass legislation that gives everybody in the whole country the same rights that we have here in Colorado. We have legislation to do that. A lot of people don't realize when I was first elected to Congress, we had 30 anti-abortion Democrats. Now, because of the work that we've done before Ayanna, Barbara Lee, some of you might know Barbara Lee, she's the mayor of Oakland now. Barbara was my partner, and we spent years flipping the seats of all of the anti-abortion Democrats. Now we have one anti-abortion Democrat, and we have a majority in the House to pass legislation that will ensure the rights. Now we have whip helping pass laws. And John Lewis encouraged me. Well, actually, the way it happened, I went to John Lewis and I said, I think you should run for whip. And he said, no, Diana, I think you should run for whip. Can you imagine being so honored to have that happen? So I immediately, because Jim Clyburn had been the whip. So I immediately went to Jim and I said, Jim, I want to run for whip. And John is encouraging me to run for whip, but I wouldn't run against Jude. And John said, and Jim Clyburn said, oh, I'm going to retire. I'm not going to run for whip. So then what happened was I announced I was running for whip, but then Jim decided to run. And when Jim decided to run, I dropped and I respected his role in the civil rights movement. So what the question that you just asked does not show an accurate view of what happened. And then after that, because of the way I handled that whole situation, I actually have a fantastic relationship with the Congressional Black Caucus, and I'm working so closely with them. As a matter of fact, I'm working with Robin Kelly and a lot of the other leaders of the Congressional Black Caucus. I don't know if do you know about my maternal health bill? This is a bill I actually passed, believe it or not, under the first Trump administration. In the United States, Black women have a much higher rate of death than any other women. And this is irrespective of socioeconomic background, of income, of education, or anything. And so I did a bill that would get reporting. Many states don't even report maternal mortality data by race. So I actually passed a bill that was signed into law that got the data so that we could then work on reducing maternal mortality among Black women. And I worked closely with a number of the members of the CBC. I was just able to include the reauthorization of that bill in the budget that passed 2 months ago. So now we're continuing that. And then I'm working with a much broader coalition, including Yvette Clark and other people on my committee, to get a broader bill to put money into stopping maternal mortality, particularly among Black women.
Okay, so that's 15 minutes. One more question. I know I'm going to go over here. Sorry. Try to spread them out across the room.
Thank you, Andrew. Hello, Congresswoman DeGette. My name is June.
Hi, June.
I am currently 27 years old. You've been in Congress longer than I've been alive. You indicated in your previous answer that you respect the seniority of Jim Clyburn when you stepped down from running for whip, because you've got a deference for party leadership.
I did not say that, but thank you.
Well, I'm just trying to
ask your question.
Yeah, as best I can. The Democratic Party on a national level, as far as I can tell, has continued support for the 2001 authorization of the use of military force, continued support for, we saw the slow rolling of consequences for those responsible for the January 6th riots under the Biden administration. There was a lot of folks who were in the riot themselves who were indicted, but not the leadership, as in Trump and a lot of his cronies. I frankly, as a young person in this country, there's a lot of examples I could name. I don't fundamentally think that we should defer to Democratic leadership who's shown time and time again that they're more willing to defer to precedent and whatever they think our norms and rules are as our country dissolves around us, as the rich consolidate more power. So I don't get, tell me why in this current moment you are still willing to back current party leadership.
Well, first of all, Jude.
So I was trying to write it down in a more concise format.
I think it was a good question, and thank you so much for asking that question. I do not think anybody should just blindly back Democratic Party leadership, and I have pushed them and opposed them many times. But I think that we're in a time of crisis in our country, as I talked about in the beginning, with Donald Trump as president and the Republicans in control of Congress. I think we need both. But you will never hear me say that you should vote for me because I have seniority. I don't think seniority is the most important thing. I think leadership is the most important thing. And you heard me talking about some of the leadership on the issues of abortion rights. Ayanna Pressley is a younger, newer member. I brought her in when Barbara retired. I brought her in so that she could do this with me, so that when I leave, there will be new leadership in that position. Same thing with the health subcommittee. I will be the chair of that subcommittee. That doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and do nothing. That means I will have the opportunity to build the coalitions that I'm known for in Congress, building coalitions for biomedical research with 21st century cures and other important, impactful legislation to move us towards a single-payer system and Medicare for all, cheaper healthcare for everybody, and cheaper prescription drugs. That's the leadership, but you can't just have people who've been there for a long time. We have to bring the junior members, and it has to be a coalition. When AOC got elected to Congress, she had many fantastic ideas. She wanted to be on my committee, the Energy and Commerce Committee. We have jurisdiction over a broad level of issues, everything having to do with the Commerce Clause of the United States. So healthcare policy, like I said, and biomedical research, Medicaid, Medicare, Children's Health Program, but also energy, environment, clean energy, telecommunications and the internet, consumer protection. It's 60% of the substantive legislation in Congress. Alex wanted to be on that committee, and she got blocked by some of the senior members of Congress because they were afraid of her. And I helped her. So I went to her and I met with her. I said, I think you've got a lot of talent. You share my views and goals. I'm going to help you get on that committee. And I did help her get on that committee. And now she's on my health subcommittee, and she's one of my key go-to members, like when we have Kennedy in there. And so I think you need both. If you had 435 people in Congress, or if you had 250 Democrats in Congress who just got elected, they wouldn't be on committees like that. They wouldn't have the gavels, and they wouldn't be able to work as part of the coalition to move these ideas forward. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I could have retired, but I decided I needed to keep up this fight. I'm not going to stay there forever. I will retire. I have grandchildren retire, but I sense the urgency of the moment for that leadership. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't have to run. Thank you. I'm known as the person who gets people off. But now I have this wonderful position of introducing our state representative, Sean. And I will only run it off if he goes to you.
I hope you give me some grace. This is probably the most important legislative update of the year. So just a little bit. But good evening, HD6. How's everyone doing? That wasn't as loud as I was expecting. Wait a minute, let's try it again. How's everyone doing? There we go. So, as I did mention, this is one of the most important legislative updates of the entire year. So I won't be talking about my bills. I'll be talking about the long bill. Does anybody know what the long bill is? It is effectively the budget. If you have been in HD6 for any amount of time, you have heard repeatedly that the budget is a moral document. And that is exactly what it is. It is how we showcase our democratic values. It is how we fight and show what good governance looks like, especially given the constraints that we have. So I won't sugarcoat it. This year's budget, like last year's, sucks. And it sucks for one reason: HR 1 and congressional Republicans. The damage that they have done at the federal level has amounted to about $2 billion shortfall in your state government. You compile that with Tabor, because we are the only state dumb enough to have Tabor. You have a recipe for disaster. But as dark as this budget looks, there are things that we can point to say we protected the working people. We protected the least of us. We protected the people who sent us to office, and I am proud of that. But there are some things that we should talk about. The budget came out on Monday. Today we had caucus briefings on the budget. Tomorrow is the long bill. So from 9 a.m. to probably 2 a.m., we will be discussing the long bill. The long bill is hundreds of bills and orbitals that put every piece of our budget into action. So what you are going to hear, and I'll just give you some of the highlights. Medicaid. Medicaid costs are the single largest driver of the budget pressure this year. They account for $1.86 billion in state funding. So we have seen over the last year is the Medicaid take rate has increased dramatically. Our Medicaid costs have increased dramatically. I'll go back to Tabor because all roads lead there. Tabor only allows us to keep income according to the increases in the Consumer Price Index. The Consumer Price Index is not reflective of the increases in prices we are seeing in education and healthcare, which are increasing at 2 or 3 times that rate. So we have a structural problem in our budget where our healthcare costs, our education costs are outpacing how much money that we can take in revenue. And you are seeing that manifest not only last year, not only during special session, but definitely this year, and unfortunately, probably next year as well. So there will be cuts to Medicaid. There'll be cuts to reimbursement rates. There'll be cuts to specific programs, because frankly, that's where we have to get the money. So we have done our best to protect the least among us in the Medicaid space, but there will be cuts, and they will be very painful. If I could. K-12 funding. This is a place where we can celebrate. We did not have to go and use the BS factor, the budget stabilization factor, to reduce our contributions to K-12. We did not have to do that this year. So that was one of our priorities. I talked about the budget is a moral document. This is where we prioritize is our kids and making sure that they have the education to succeed in the economy of tomorrow, that they have food in their bellies when they do go to school. This is our priority. We are able to keep K-12 funding at a constant level. It's not increasing, but it's also not going down. Human services are going down, early childhood education are going down, and corrections. We have seen from the Department of Corrections year over year now asking for more of your money. More of your money to incarcerate our neighbors. That is a problem. We need to get better as a legislature on how to fix those systemic issues, because next year they're going to ask for even more money. And what does that mean? We're taking money away from K-12. We're taking the money away from higher ed. And higher ed is also going to take a cut. Take a cut in a roundabout way. Our funding for higher education is going to stay flat. Sounds great. However, the cost of education, as I mentioned earlier, that inflationary cost is going up. So what that tangible effect is, it's going to cost more to go to college in Colorado, public institutions, for all of our kids and our neighbors and our friends. It's going to cost more. And as a direct result, of HR 1 and Tabor. Another place that we can at least be proud of this budget is we are protecting state workers. Because if you decide to have a career in the state, then we should honor our commitments and we should support you as best we can. This year, we'll have a step plan raise that included with a 1% salary range adjustment, but there will be no across-the-board cost of living increases for state employees. But what the state will do is cover 100% of their benefit costs. So no state employee will see a cut in their paycheck this year. They just won't get a bigger paycheck. Again, we are doing the best we can with limited resources to live our democratic values through this budget. And we are protecting K-12. We're protecting the least among us with Medicaid funding where we can, and our public sector workers as well. And then one of the biggest outlays in the budget is capital construction costs. So what that means is state buildings, institutions, we are only paying for critical maintenance. We're not paying for improvements. We're just paying for things that make that building functional. And that's to the tune of about $130 million. So there are so many different parts of this budget, and I only have 5 minutes, but I want to push back. There's going to be a dueling narrative in the press between my colleagues on the right side of the aisle and the Democratic Party. What you're going to hear from Republicans is that we don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem. And I say BS. We have a revenue problem because we are spending to our priorities to make sure we are taking care of our constituents and the people in our state that deserve our help the most. And Tabor is standing in our way. We cannot keep up with these costs to deliver for our district with these constraints. And I don't want to be a dark cloud because you have hopefully two opportunities to fight back this year. You heard Matthew talk about the graduate income tax. When that comes to your ballot box this November, please vote for it. That is a way that we can address the structural deficit or structural issues that we have in our budget. There's also another ballot measure working itself through the budget that will effectively de-Bruce K-12. And that's a very policy wonky kind of thing. But what it is doing, if you remember in the early 2000s when we had Rev C, we are essentially raising the cap for K-12 spending. So in those instances where we have more money than has been taken in, instead of pushing that out the door to Tabor refunds, we're going to be investing that in K-12. And hopefully that ballot measure will come to you this November, and I'd love your support in it. Because the more we can spend in K-12 above the Tabor cap, the more money we'll have for Medicaid and all the other expenses. And I just want to say, she's so great about time. But you guys have been great, and I don't want to be a dark cloud because there are things to be proud of in this budget, and there are ways to fight back, and I want your help with that because we are in this together. And I really do appreciate you showing up on a Tuesday because this is how democracy survives. This is how we fight back. Here is the microphone. Have a great night.
Thank you, Sean. We have a second state legislator who'd like to give an update, and he's going to be talking a little bit about a measure to reform the structure of RTD, our public transit agency. Please welcome Senator Matt Ball.
How's everybody doing tonight? All right, love to hear it. It's great to not be in the Capitol. This is the time of year where we all sort of feel like we're sentenced to the Capitol, and it's hard to get out. So it's wonderful to be here. Sean covered a lot of what is currently happening, so I thought I'd just say a couple words about the budget and then talk about some of my priority bills that I'm working on this year, which I'd love to tell you about to include RTD. So yeah, on the budget, they say budgets are moral documents, and I don't think I appreciated that until this year. But I had a really hard conversation with a colleague who's on the JBC a couple days ago about, none of us came to the legislature to cut healthcare, right? Or do things that hurt people. But we are in this position where part of it's Tabor, part of it's the federal government. We're looking for cuts in a really pared down budget as it is. We just don't have a lot of fat to trim. So I think a lot of what we're doing is trying to prevent more harm. It's harm prevention. And seeing the budget today, we had our first big caucus discussion on it. It's starting in the House, so it'll come to us next week. So we're just starting to have our caucus conversations. But I do think the good news is the budget was done very fair. There's cuts across the board. There's cuts to everything, and what the JBC did that I think is really commendable is they tried to be really surgical about those cuts while acknowledging that there's just no way to get out of a $1.5 billion budget deficit without people making sacrifices. And I think they've done that in a way that prevents what could have been a lot worse. And they were really creative. They found a lot of one-time money that I think people weren't sure was there. They did some legal maneuvers to try to get back some money that's disputed under a Tabor lawsuit. And they managed to balance the budget in a way that I think for me and my colleagues is, sort of the headline is always that it's really bad, but the, under that I think is that this looks like it was better than a lot of us feared. So that's I guess my vibes budget update. But that's, very much what the legislature is going to be preoccupied for the next 2 weeks. After that, there are 3 weeks and 3 days left in session, which is not a long time. And almost nothing has moved. This is a session where everything is happening at the very last minute. So a lot of the big bills are just sort of waiting, and there's not that much time. And as you get late, the Republicans get more power because they can filibuster, they can take up a lot of time, and things can die on the calendar. So it's going to be a very interesting next month to see how that shakes out. But some of those big bills are mine. Last year coming in when I did, I was able to work on a lot of great legislation, but this year, one thing I wanted to do was, work on bigger bills because it takes more time to build coalitions and do a lot of stakeholder work if you're working on something that's tough. I'm working on a couple of those bills this year that I'm really passionate about. 2 that I'll mention specifically. I am taking on the online sports betting industry. Which I think is just completely out of control. I think it's a public health crisis that we are one day going to think about in the same way we think about tobacco and alcohol. We're just not talking about it like that yet, but gambling addiction is an addiction. In your brain, it's like alcoholism, it's like substance abuse, and we have basically this unregulated market that people voted for when they thought, hey, I want to put $100 on the Broncos game on Sunday. Now it's a casino in your pocket, just constant. And the impacts that's having on people who are addicted, kids, and just society as a whole is really not healthy for us. It's predominantly young men, overwhelmingly. I talked to a teacher today who told me he pulls aside his kids and asks them not do you sports bet, but how many of your classmates do you think sports bet? And they guess it's about half of all of the senior men that take his math class. And I've talked to mothers whose sons come home from CSU and say, hey, Mom, I put $15,000 on the credit card on Friday. And a night, a single night. And, the way this works is it's a business that's basically in the business of monetizing addiction. And if they kick you off if you win, they will keep you as long as you want if you just keep losing and losing and losing. So, this is a big fight because this is the most that any state has really ever done in this space. And so the industry has now spent well over $1 million against this bill. They've flown out lots of executives because this is a threat. If this passes in Colorado, it could pass in other places. But in my mind, it's really common sense stuff. It's the way we should just think about how do we responsibly regulate something. This cuts you off at some point. In the same way the bartender cuts you off. In a casino, they'll cut you off. You can't make more than 5 deposits in a day, which is a ton. If you're doing that, it's because you're chasing your losses and you can't stop. There's limits on push notifications, ads, a lot of which go directly to kids. So it's got a whole bunch of things in there, but that's the first big fight that I'm working on. I love big fights with industry, so I'm having fun. Thank you. And then the second is RTD. Thank you. So RTD, this is a big topic that has, honestly been in the air for years. I don't think I have to tell you about RTD's struggles because I think everybody sees that we just don't have the transit system that we should have as a city. And even when you compare us to peer cities, we're really, really behind. We're our second to last now among peer cities in pandemic recovery. Almost every other of our peer cities had recovered their ridership from pre-pandemic levels by 2024, except for us. We grew that year by 0.1%. Everybody else grew by 10%. So I think one of the conversations that has been happening is, how much of that is related to the structure of the board. And when you look at the RTD board, it's really, really different from how everybody else does transit. We're one of only 4 elected boards in the country because it's like Denver Water. In most places, you want a board that has the expertise to really manage the agency. We don't have that. We frequently have non-competitive elections. About 40% of RTD elections are unopposed. In 2022, there were 4 seats where nobody ran. So it was a write-in candidacy. People get 200 votes maybe on write-in and get on the board. So I think we need to make some changes, and I think there's that conversation I think has been in the air. And frankly, at this point, somebody once joked to me that the hard part is everybody agrees the board should change, but nobody agrees on what it should look like. But I do think it needs to change. This bill came from a committee that was established because there was an effort to totally get rid of the board 2 years ago. And that got killed. I think at the time it was really seen as a power grab by the governor, which is what I thought too. A committee was formed and they came together around a recommendation that's pretty similar to what I introduced and will be going to committee tomorrow. And that is shrinking the size of the board. Talk to many, many members of the board who just say, look, 15 people is like a legislative body. You cannot get things done in that big a group. I always compare things to the Army, and just from a leadership perspective, I cannot imagine exercising oversight where you have 15 people that you're doing this with. So shrinking the board is part of it. Also adding expertise. So we're adding expertise under the board that is knows a thing or two about transportation planning, financial management. This will be the first board in the country with a voting member of labor, which we're really excited about. And then also, thank you, give it up for labor. And also making sure that there's a voice that comes from and represents a disproportionately impacted community. So it does all that while managing to keep people's ability to vote for the board, which I think is important. There have been efforts, like the one 2 years ago, to totally get rid of the elected board. I don't think we should do that. People voted 45 years ago to give themselves a voice on the board. I think we should honor that decision. But this bill will honor that while adding that expertise and making sure we have a smaller board that can make decisions. So I'm very excited about that bill too. It will go to committee tomorrow. And then, thank you. And then maybe last I'll mention a bill that's a good kumbaya to end on a high note. I'm running a big bill on geothermal energy. There we go. The people love geothermal. So, look, if we're going to get to 100% renewable energy, which is my goal, we have to find a way to get off natural gas. And that means we have to find a clean source of what you call baseload power. Wind and solar are amazing. They're intermittent. So you need that baseload power to have a grid that gives everybody power. Geothermal could very well be that. We're one of the best states in the country for geothermal, just from a natural resource perspective. We have a ton of potential in this state. Right now, those investments, though, are going to Nevada and Utah. So I'm bringing a big bill that's really designed to encourage investment in the geothermal industry in this state. And it's a kumbaya because it's good union jobs. It's an industry that wants to invest. It's a country. I wish we were a country sometimes. It's a state that's really well set up for it naturally. And it's a solution that's going to get us to, where we need to be environmentally. So I am right on time, just for the record. I can answer one question.
One question. There you go. Does Colorado get any money from online betting? Does the state get any money?
We get a little bit. We have the lowest tax rate of any state that allows online sports betting. We tax about 10%. New York is at 50%, just for comparison. But we do get money, and that money goes towards water projects. The industry is doing so well in this state, and we repealed a tax break that they got last year. So even with this bill passing, our water revenue is going to go from about 35 million this year to 67 million next year, even with the bill that I'm running passing.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Earlier we heard from Congresswoman DeGette. She is running for re-election. She is not the only person running for Congressional District 1. There are two other candidates, Wanda James, who's a CU regent, and our next speaker. Please welcome Melat Kiros.
Hi, everyone. Hope you guys are having a wonderful night. I'm going to keep it quick with my intro. Obviously, we've been here for quite a while, and I want to save as much time as possible for questions. So my name is Melat Kiros. I'm running for Congress here in CD1. I grew up here in Denver. All my community and my friends and my family, this is a city that I want to see being represented with the values that we carry and that we share. This is a city where we have universal pre-K, we have term limits, we have publicly financed elections. This is one of the most progressive districts in the country. It is the youngest district in the country. And in one of the safest blue seats in the country, we should be having someone who is pushing the needle. I have a great deal of respect for the Congresswoman and the work that she's done in reproductive justice and environmental justice. But we need to have representatives who are committed to addressing the root problem that we have in this country today, and that is the issue of money in politics. The Congresswoman, for all the respect that I have for her, takes millions of dollars from corporations, including big pharmaceutical companies, who get to enjoy and reap the benefits of these donations with bills that she champions, like Cures Act, which was, by Senator Warren and Senator Sanders' definition, a massive giveaway to big pharma. This is the kind of corruption that we see in government that is not intentional, but it is subliminal, and that is how money operates. And we know that. We know that the economy is not working for working people. We know that the government is not working for working people. And in order for that to change, we need to make sure that the people we send to Congress are accountable to us, not to their donors. So I'm really proud to say that I'm the only candidate in this race that is not taking a dime in corporate PAC money and lobbyist money. This is a fully people-powered grassroots campaign with over 5,000 individual donors with an average donation of like $45. And to put that into context, the Congresswoman's donations come in at 64% of corporate PAC money. Less than 4% of her donors are from small dollar donors. And why that matters is that the person and the people who put you into Congress are the ones that you're going to be accountable to. And I'm not running to represent moneyed interests. I'm running to represent you. And I'm so honored to have received the most votes at the Assembly. We took it away with 67% of the vote. The first time a sitting Congress member in the state of Colorado has lost at Assembly. So it was a really incredible win. I'm really proud of all of the folks that were involved and helped us organize for that. And I got to see some of y'all there as well too. Thank you so much for participating. But I'm going to keep it there. I want to save as much time as I can for questions. So I know Andrew's going to run around with the mic.
Start with that.
All right, let's do it.
Hi, I read your website and I had some concerns I wanted to ask you about.
Please, yeah.
So it looks like professional experience-wise, you have a little bit more than 18 months. And then it doesn't look like you've ever had an elected position or worked in an elected's office as a staff person. And so that was concerning me because I guess, where are the skills going to come from that you would need as a representative?
Yeah, no, that's a very fair question, right? I don't want to discount experience and institutional knowledge. Fortunately, we are in a position where that stuff can be shared, right? And I am going to make every effort to seek out that expertise where possible. The Congresswoman explained herself that she made herself available as a mentor to younger members that joined the legislature, and I'd like to do the same thing and seek out that expertise. But I think it's really important also to talk about what that experience has gotten us, right? We have a massive amount of experience, to put it lightly, in Congress right now. We have a massive amount of institutional knowledge in Congress right now. And where has that gotten us? That has gotten us a second administration of Donald Trump. That has gotten us into an unauthorized, illegal war where the president is using genocidal rhetoric. This is where we're at right now because of this leadership. And again, I want to be clear, it's not the people, it's the system at play here. When you have a system that incentivizes you seeking out donations from the corporations and the wealthiest donors, instead of going straight to the people in your district and talking to them about the issues that matter most to them, you are disconnected from the things that matter most. And so when I talk about this election and what's at stake, because more than anything, as Democrats, we just need to start winning again. We cannot afford to lose. We cannot. And in Colorado, with over 50% of our voters that are registered as unaffiliated, and 86% of those voters did that on purpose. They do not, despite the fact that they largely vote with Democrats, do not want to be a member of our party. I'm a proud Democrat. I've always been a proud Democrat. My dad taught me to be a proud Democrat because of what we have accomplished in the past for working people. We have really lost our way on that path. The last meaningful piece of legislation that we have passed for working people was Obamacare, and that was monumental. Tens of millions of Americans got health care, but we are still fighting for subsidies to make that health care affordable. If the everyday working person can't feel a tangible improvement in their everyday life that they can point to and say, Democrats did that for me, what reason are we giving them to join our party? And part of the things that I'm really proud of with this campaign is that, we are the only Democrats in the state that collected enough signatures to get on the ballot. They pulled it because we won at Assembly, but we are the only Democrats that did it with just volunteers. We had people that were changing their affiliation so that they could become Democrats because they believed in this platform, they believed in this mission. And so what we really need to be focused on is winning again. Taking back the House, taking back the Senate, taking back the White House. And then when we do that, using that power and actually passing legislation like I would believe should be Medicare for all. That has to be our number one priority. I'm really happy to know that the Congresswoman is a co-sponsor of that legislation, but one of the promises that she makes is that she'll get the gavel, which is not a guarantee, to be clear, but I think it's probably likely. She'll get the gavel, she'll bring Medicare for all to a vote. It is not going to pass in the next term. We have to be honest about what is realistic in the next few terms. It's not passing in the next term because we have too many Democrats that are still taking money from these big pharmaceutical companies and health insurance companies. And it's funny because the Congresswoman actually explained what I think needs to be our strategy going forward is actively and specifically identifying the seats that we need to flip to make sure that we are getting a majority in Congress that are not taking corporate PAC money. That's the only way that we get legislation passed that meaningfully helps working people. And so I appreciate and completely understand that I'm coming from a place where it's going to be a different kind of experience, because I think there is experience in being an immigrant, being an attorney, being a young person in a country where the promises that were made about you go to school, you get a good job, and you'll be able to afford a home and retire, that's gone. I can tell you that. And that experience is going to be important to make sure that we can speak to the issues that working people care about. But thank you so much for your question.
Next question back here.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Well, I can't speak for everyone else, but can y'all hear me good? Okay.
This is the first time I've asked a question at a meeting like this, so bear with me. Thank you for running and being here. My name is Mike Sullivan, and I worked in the AI software world for 30 years. I was on Joe Biden's AI Safety Commission, which unfortunately was not what I had hoped it would be. Somebody called Anthropic today made a press release that may have flown under the radar, scare everybody in this room. I encourage you to read it. I'm not going to go into details. I'm writing a Substack on my Substack about it. My question for you is this. AI is going to be the key topic of 2028. There's no question. You may not think it, you may not, but it is going to be, and it's going to have a ton of impact on that. I don't know if Congress is prepared on this topic. I'm not sure how. There's education that needs to happen. My question for you is this. How would you address this topic if elected? I don't care if you're young. If you bring ideas on this, because it is possibly the topic of our lifetime. That's not hyperbole. How would you approach that as you enter as a junior congresswoman in our government?
Thank you for that question. AI is actually one of the reasons why I decided to run. Again, I'm not, oblivious to the fact that I'm 28 years old, I've never held elected office before, all the things that tell you that you shouldn't be running for. We are facing an existential crisis when it comes to AI. This is a technology that threatens millions of jobs, that threatens the culture and systems that we have with work in general. The system that we have is one where our labor is what guarantees us access to our most basic needs. What happens when all these jobs become automated? What happens when this technology continues to develop and, as the godfather of AI himself, the man who won a Nobel laureate for discovering the thing that made it happen so quickly, says that it could even threaten global stability. It is terrifying. And it's even more terrifying when you think about the fact that most sitting members of Congress had to ask the CEO of Facebook how they even made money. The lack of knowledge and expertise on this issue is scary. And we have to make sure that the people that we are electing, they don't necessarily have to be experts, but they have to be seeking out that expertise and figuring out how are we going to address this technology going forward. And I want to be really clear, I'm not anti-technology. I love technology. I think it is the closest thing that we have to magic. I think it is one of the greatest equalizers that we've ever had in society. But it is a tool. And just like any other tool, it can be used for good and it could be used for evil. And so making sure that this technology that is developing so rapidly is developed democratically is critical. And we actually did some polling on this issue. About 72% of Denver Democrats want a data center moratorium. They want to put a halt to this development until we can figure out what to do next. So here's the thing. Right now, the people that are in charge of developing AI have a very, very specific motive, and that's profit. This is a technology that literally only develops because it is learning from our ingenuity, our creations, our art, our expertise. We should have a seat at the table when it comes to developing that technology. And there were attempts at making sure that there was oversight over this, and it ended up being a lot of people that still had that profit motive over the development of that AI. That cannot be the way that we develop this and regulate this technology. So I have come out in favor of a moratorium on data centers. And the reason that I've done that is because it is a point of leverage. The responsibility of the government is to protect the interests of everyday working people. It is not about preventing the development of this technology. It is about forcing these companies to the table so that they can commit to the regulations we need in place to protect labor, to protect our environment, and to protect society at large. Like, that is how existential this crisis is. And so that is why I'm in favor of that moratorium, because it's our leverage that we have been increasingly losing as we are living in an oligarchy, where it's the corporations and the billionaires that have been calling the shots. This is taking back that power, making sure that working people are not going to be left behind by this technology, and making sure that we are developing this technology democratically. So that's how I would address it. Thank you for your question.
All right, next question.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for being here and running for office. As a young person, my name's Nick, I'm 23, so it's really energizing to see someone close to my age run for office. There's the old saying that people campaign in poetry and they govern in prose. And the reality is, when you get to Congress, you're one of 435 people. So what you promise on the campaign trail, you may not be able to deliver on. My ultimate question is, why not run for a seat in the state legislature, show that you can have a proven track record of passing really progressive policy and work with people, and then running for Congress, rather than run for Congress out of the gate?
Yeah. Great question. So I didn't run just for the sake of it. After Trump won, I knew that we needed to make sure that we were sending the very best Democrats to the general so that we could take back the House, we could take back the Senate, and take back the White House in 28. That means competitive primaries. That's how we can, iron sharpens iron. That's how we can make sure that we're sending the best of the best. So it wasn't my first instinct to run. In fact, I was hoping someone in the state legislature or the city council was going to run, and I would have been their very first volunteer. And I've said that to several members of the state legislature. Because having been in this race for 9 months now, I can understand why folks don't want to run against an incumbent. They don't want to run against the establishment. I know I'm at time, but I'm going to finish this question real quick. So it wasn't my first instinct. And I can understand that folks want people to have experience before they get to Congress. Here's the thing. We don't have time. When we're talking about AI, when we're talking about the threat to our democracy right now with Trump, when we're talking about the threat of the climate emergency right now, I sincerely believe we have 6 years. I think we're going to take back the House and the Senate. I'm going to do everything I can to go up to the 8th, maybe even down to the 5th, see if we can swing that one too. We're going to take back power for the Democrats. But if we don't do something with that power when we get it, there's going to be a vacuum in 2032 that is left behind by Trump. There will be someone who is probably just as charismatic, intelligent, and even terrifyingly probably smarter than Trump. And will take back that power if, again, we get to another presidential election and working people cannot point to something tangibly and say, Democrats did that for me. If we get to another election year and 67% of Americans are still living paycheck to paycheck, what reason do we have to give people to vote for us again? And I want to be clear, President Biden was one of the most effective presidents this country's ever seen. But the legislation that was passed did not feed directly to everyday working people's lives. They didn't see it in their grocery bills. They didn't see it in their rent. They still felt squeezed every day. So when I talk about that 6-year window, it is about guaranteeing that we have enough of a majority in Congress that can hopefully back up whichever progressive president we're able to get elected and can pass something like Medicare for all. We cannot pass Medicare for all until we get rid of all of the corporate Democrats. We can't. That's the realistic thing that we need to be talking about. And the fact of the matter is, Democrats have not been playing the long game nearly as well as Republicans have. This has been 60 years in the making that they have been getting ready for this moment and repealing all of this legislation that we worked so hard for. And so in order for that to change, we need to get corporate Democrats out, and that includes challenging the ones that represent me in this district, which is why I decided to run. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you, Maylot, and thank you all for hanging in there. I know this has gone a little long. I want to make a quick, mostly personal announcement. This, unfortunately, is my last meeting as HD6A captain. As many of you know, the party has rules, and the party has rules for good reason, that prohibit party leadership from running for office. You can't do those two things at the same time. And for better or for worse, I have decided to run for a seat on the Denver City Council. Thank you. In District 10, which is downtown, Capitol Hill, Cheeseman, and Congress Park. So most of House District 6A. This is very bittersweet, but I'll have more information on that later this month, but it'll be before the May monthly meeting, and I didn't just want to disappear without giving an explanation. And disappear is the wrong word. I'll continue to be at all these meetings. It just won't be as a member of leadership. And give me 30 more seconds. I really quickly want to thank a few people first of all the people that have been in House District 6 leadership with me over these years, in particularly Kate Sneed, Sean Camacho, Matt Ball, and all 5 members of our current leadership team, including myself, Ryan Keeney, my co-captain, who is currently in, I believe it's Thailand, of all places, so he couldn't make it tonight. Karen Zazaretti, Kathy Wilson, and a special thank you to Mark Kamen. I have learned a ton from all these people. I am incredibly grateful for all the wisdom that they have shared with me and for welcoming me into the party. And then thank you also to you. I got involved in this party in February 2022 and was elected the HD6A co-captain at my first meeting. So I appreciate your vote of confidence. I had just come off working for a judge, and in that position I was not allowed to be politically involved for neutrality reasons. And I enjoyed the party immediately. I want to thank you all for a wonderful few years. So, because I am resigning in the next couple of weeks and my term runs through February of next year, there will be a vacancy and we will have an election to fill that vacancy. In a second, Mark's going to tell you a little bit more how that's going to go. I will just note that my co-captain, Ryan Keeney, is going to run, but it is going to be an open election. So if you are interested, I encourage you to run. Please come talk to me. I'm happy to talk to you about what the responsibilities are. And there might be a waterfall effect here where if Ryan wins HD6A captain, we will immediately have a vacancy in HD6A co-captain and immediately have an election for that. And so for more detail, I'm going to pass the mic off to Mark. Thank you, everybody.
I'm going to try to stay composed. I'm really sad that Andrew is leaving as captain of 6A. You have no idea what a help he has been to me for, 3 years? 4 years. I'm known to call Andrew in the morning, in the afternoon, late at night, or I text him, and he always gets back to me with the answers I need. This is a big loss for HD6, and I'm very sad that he's leaving, but I also know he's not disappearing. He has promised me he will continue to help and come to our meetings. And shall I tell him what you told me earlier?
What did I tell you earlier?
Don't tell him.
You're pregnant.
I have been working on Andrew for the 4 years to get him to become a Century Club member.
It is my one piece of leverage over Mark, so I have steadfastly refused, but I will join.
So, Century Club is my baby. I've been sharing it for 10 years. We are doing better right now than we've ever done. We have more members. We've taken in more money, which is going to be great for the fall when we have big elections and to say goodbye to all the asshole Republicans. But I had a dream last night, and it wasn't Martin Luther King speaking. It was me thinking that Andrew came to me tonight and said, hey, this is my last meeting, and you've bugged me about this for 4 years, pretty much every meeting, and I'm going to join Century Club. And I guess I woke up because I was so excited, and when I woke up I was like, shit, that was only a dream. So I expect to see you at our next Century Club event. There are a lot of people here that are Century Club members, and if you're not, you should be, and you missed a really great brunch about 2 or 3 weeks ago at Stephen Pallett's house. We had about 95 people and lots of good food. So You missed that opportunity if you're not a member, right, Helen? So I want to just do a quick explanation of what will happen now to the May meeting, which I believe is May 2nd. If you are in 6A, which is half of HD6, it's the downtown up to, I believe, Colorado Blvd is the bound. And you are interested in running for captain or co-captain. It's kind of confusing, but Ryan has already said he's going to run for captain. But if Ryan wins, then we have to elect a co-captain the same night. If Ryan doesn't win, he would remain as co-captain, and we would elect a captain. Sounds confusing, but when you deal with Denver politics and vacancies, we all know what a shit show that can be. So if anybody is interested, and I know 2 people have already said something to me tonight, but I'm letting everybody else know. If you are interested in either the captain or co-captain position, or one or the other, put your name in. You need to send me your intent to run. I believe I have to get them, is it 10 days? You have to send them to me 10 days before the next meeting. So May 2nd, take away 10 days. I think that's like April 22nd, something like that. You can email me a letter of your intent or intention, and it can go to Mark, M-A-R-C, Denver, D-E-N-V-E-R, Dems, D-E-M-S, @gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from some of you, including the 2 people that verbally told me tonight that they plan to run. The more the merrier. And the people that live in 6A, which are precinct organizers, elected officials in 6A, which would be Andrew.
Not yet.
Well, you will be tomorrow. Matt lives in 6A. He gets to vote. Anybody else that's not a PO that lives in 6A? Sean's in 6B. You all get to vote on May 2nd. It will be a secret ballot. I feel like we just did this 4 months ago, 3 months ago, when Shanice resigned, and we elected Ryan as co-captain. So whatever happens, I'm certainly hoping that the 2 people, or 1 and 1 stays, I'm hoping that you will take this seriously and not just do this for a month or 2 and then say, I'm not into this. It is a lot of work, I'm not going to lie to you. But the HD6 leadership works really closely together. We have meetings on Zoom so that we can plan the next month's meeting. So think about that. If you have questions, you're more than welcome to contact me, and I'd be happy to answer questions. So, any questions right now?
It's May 5th.
May 5th?
Is your first
Thank
meeting.
you. Thank you, Andrew. And Andrew. All right, May 5th. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Please help us put away the chairs and the tables. Have a good night. Some folks are going to Pete's Pub, a couple blocks down, if you'd like to join us for a drink. And please sign the petition for the graduated income tax ballot measure. Thank you.
Come and get food. Andrew said, come and get food from the. I'll take home food.
And if you want any food, please help yourself. Take food. We have way too much.